Good morning. I would like to call to order this meeting of your Fremont County Board of County Commissioners. I invite you all to rise, please, for an invocation by Grant Atkinson from the Canyon Cowboy Church, and please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thing on. And Lord, we thank you. Thank you for a new day. Thank you for all the rain we've been getting. And we pray we just continue to be with all those that have been affected by not just the fire close to us, but all of them, all over and all across Canada. Lord, intervene. Thank you for our firefighters. I pray you'd protect them, bless them and their families. We pray that for our military, our law enforcement, first responders. We thank you for that. Lord, thank you for our leadership in our county, our city, our state, our nation. We pray you'd intervene in and through them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
County Attorney Bellis.
Present.
County Administrator Croce.
Present.
Approval of agenda is up next. I would like to note under the consent agenda, we are adding, well, it's already there, but we are adding the number of the resolution is number 17 for item 3, series of 2026, adopting the amended Fremont County Body Art Regulations.
That, Madam Chair, move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under today's consent agenda, we are scheduling a public hearing. This is the first that we've done for quite a while. I would like to mention to you zone change number 26-002 for Carr. This is requesting a zone change from business to residential 1. Representative will be John Carr. This will be held Tuesday, August 25th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda, including resolution number 17 and the scheduling of a public hearing.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's consent agenda. Let's do roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We turn next to administrative and informational topics. I sometimes think this is the meat of our meetings. We have so many things we want to talk about. We're going to begin this morning with elected officials. We'll start with our county clerk's monthly report from Justin Grantham, our county clerk. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected for June of this year were $1,511,517.81. Of that, Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $847,721.14. That is 56% of the total fees and is $156,788.23 less than June of last year. Year to date, our office is down $88,662.90.
That's a pretty big difference.
That is a pretty big difference, and what I thank you to county administration for buying vehicles and trying to keep the numbers up, but this is a direct reflection of less buying and more just renewing. And so the business is not going down, it's just, for us, it's just people aren't buying.
So it's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
All right, questions for Justin?
No, Madam Chair, I move to accept the clerk's monthly report.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the clerk's monthly report for the month of June of 2026. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We also have with us today another elected official in the form of Kathy Elliott, who serves as our public trustee and Fremont County treasurer. She has reports for us as well. We will begin this morning with the public trustee's quarterly report. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
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 So we released 415 deeds of trust in the second quarter, which was 99 more than we had done in the first quarter. And we initiated 21 new foreclosures, which was 2 more than the first quarter. We, I believe, started 1 last week. We're starting 5 this week. So you just never know what our numbers are coming with that. We had 5 that went into bankruptcy. 3 from 2025, 2 from 2026. We had 2 that were able to cure their foreclosures, so that's always good news. They were both from 2026. We had our outside sales, or at our foreclosure sales on Wednesday, we actually sold 2 to outside bidders. And what we have sold, so whether these all went back to the bank, we had 11 of them. 3 of them from 2026, 8 of them from 2025. And we had 11 files get withdrawn. 1 was from 2024, 3 of them from 2025, and the remaining from 2026. So whether they sold them, we never hear reasoning behind the withdrawals. But I would like to give kudos to Andy because the last 7 months were extremely difficult in our office, running shorthanded, and she made sure everything was getting done on a statutorily correct timeline and kept things moving correctly. So kudos to her. So
All right, thank you, Kathy. We never like to hear about those foreclosures and those bankruptcies. Those are never good news for any of us. And unfortunately, it seems to me as though those numbers are starting to creep back up again a little bit.
they are, a little bit.
So, all right, commissioners, questions, comments? Motion.
For me. Move to accept the public trustee quarterly report.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the public trustees quarterly report. Let's do roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bill.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, we turn back to Kathy now for the semi-annual treasurer's report.
Well, I like to say this every July is the first part of the year. It looks really good because we have a lot of collections that first half of the year. So the one thing I did want to bring your attention to was RE3 general and the negative amount there. There was an error that happened, and it was kind of a timing thing of their mid-March of 2025 disbursement and their funds being held by the state. And it processed the ACH in the system. Then I got the notification and I hadn't processed it completely through the bank. So I voided it. There was an issue then where it didn't void the whole transaction. Got Tyler involved, thought it was corrected. And until Kyle started looking at the audit stuff, we had paid them too much once that hold came off. I have talked to Superintendent Crick at RE3. I sent him all the documentation and he's fine. They just won't receive any disbursements until that gets corrected. So
And for clarification, Tyler is not a person.
Tyler is software system.
Tyler is our financial software.
Yeah.
Tyler's
So when you hear, I talked to Tyler, it was
gotta
not
do something
a
about
man
that.
named Tyler.
Yes,
You're in, Tyler.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you, Kathy.
yeah, you're
Any
welcome.
questions, comments?
No, I guess just clarification too, RE3 is Cotopaxi
It is.
schools, so people know.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Move to accept the semi-annual treasurer's report.
Second.
It has been moved and second to accept the semi-annual treasurer's report. Further conversation? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bill.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks for being here, Kathy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think,
I have one more thing.
Oh, yes.
I had talked a while ago about the escrow taxes, which is now called Equipay. And I just wanted to provide an example because I had a lot of people come in during this last tax payment season and they were saying that it was that you were borrowing money from them or that they were having to pay like $900 for them to escrow your taxes. I just wanted to clarify, I looked mine up. It is estimated because right now we don't know what the taxes are gonna be. Stacy, I did have a conversation with her. We were comfortable in increasing it by the 3%. just as an estimate only. Obviously, the payment amounts are going to change. The sooner people sign up for it, the smaller your payments are going to be. However, based on this information, an ACH, so if you had them take the payment directly out, and this is so people can pay it monthly for their property taxes instead of having to come up with either the lump sum or the first half and second half, or forget the second half, which we had a lot of that this year as well. So based on this, if I did an ACH and they just withdrew the money from my bank account, it would cost me $11 for them to withdraw this money. If I did a credit card payment, it would charge me $41.80 overall. So it would be $3.80 per transaction. So I just wanted to put some good information out there. Before I didn't have the time to go through and look and see what it all entailed. But when I'm hearing rumors that you're borrowing money, you're not borrowing money, and it's not going to cost you $900. So.
And this is what website that folks can go to?
It's the easiest way is just go to escrowtaxes.com, and it just pops it right up. You put in, trying to think, I think you put in your name, and then you look up which county, and then it'll pull up your account, and then you can proceed from there however you want to. So.
Okay.
And to be clear, this is for those that don't have their taxes already escrowed into their mortgage and included in their payments.
Correct.
This is for people that annually have to walk in January or in February and June or in April and make the big payments. This is just for everybody else that doesn't have it included in their mortgage payment already.
Correct. And we did hear a lot of people that were, we can't come up with this amount.
Right.
But if you broke it down, and I get it, people live paycheck to paycheck. It's not easy doing that either, but is it easier to do this than scrounge at the end and they'll adjust it. So if the taxes actually come in less, they'll reduce your payments. At the end, if you've overpaid, they'll either credit that to the next year or they'll give you your money back. So
when this bill was introduced and passed, I think the treasurers of the state were worried about the extra work and stuff. Has it created that for you guys?
this is not the bill.
It's not that bill?
No, that bill did not pass.
Okay.
They've tried for the last 2 years through legislation to make it to where everybody can make 12 payments a year.
Okay.
But I don't know how that would affect the tax lien sale, the delinquent
Right.
taxes. I believe that would put a hardship on schools.
So how would this affect the tax lien sale?
This doesn't affect anything because you're escrowing and then your timeline, so I have however many payments before the February payment is due. And then I have the next 4 before the June payment is
So it's
due.
going to be about the same in the long run, yeah. Okay.
But they make sure your payments are to us in time, so.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
This was the go around the legislative bill.
This is
Because-
essentially a third-party escrow agent for those that don't have mortgage
Right.
payments. And instead of, like the legislation, wanting to make basically the county and the treasurer's office that escrow agent.
Correct.
And- Right.
Well, yeah, there would be a huge increase in staff, software, computer.
Right.
There'd be a
Right.
lot of time that would go in if we had to take 12 payments from everybody.
Right.
Okay,
Okay?
thanks so much,
All right.
Kathy.
Thank you.
Let's turn next to our county administrator, Tony Carochi, for his bi-weekly report. Good morning.
Morning, Madam Chair. Morning, Commissioners. Morning, everyone. So we will start with the job opportunities that we have posted throughout the county. Fremont County Department of Transportation, we have an assistant supervisor posting that closes August the 6th, 2026. In our Fremont County Sheriff's Office, we have 2 postings, one for a detention deputy that closes August the 4th, 2026, and a master control center officer that closes August the 4th, 2026. For more information about employment opportunities with Fremont County government, please visit our county website at fremontcountyco.gov, or you can call our HR department at 719-276-7409. Fremont County Department of Transportation is still conducting roadway striping throughout the county. I believe they're hoping to be done by August the 6th. They are currently working on Oak Creek grade. Roads will remain open. They have pilot vehicles and signs to alert the traveling public. We appreciate your patience and cooperation as our work crews work to make our roadways safe for all of our citizens. And like I said, I believe the striping should be completed by August the 6th. I think they're going to move to the Cotopaxi area next, actually. In Pathfinder Park, with the strong storms that we've been having the past week, I've heard many really good comments about how good the ground is out at the rodeo arena. So I wanted to give a shout out to our director at Pathfinder Park, Dwayne Gaiman, and our facility staff who are doing such a great job of keeping the rodeo arena in such great shape for the Fremont County Fair. So that's all I have this morning, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Any questions or comments for Tony?
Not a one.
All right, let's turn next to commissioners' reports, and we'll begin with Commissioner Dwayne McFall.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Speaking of the fair, yeah, we got probably 2.5 inches of rain out there Friday night. The rodeo was postponed, but the drainage worked very well. As you know, last couple of years we did some drainage work out there and some chip seal, and that made a huge difference. There was still water running, but it was running where it was supposed to be running rather
That is
than
good
everywhere.
news, yes.
The arena was completely soaked, but through the work of Dwayne and others out there, they got it in good shape for the rodeo the next night, and then had a good crowd. So good crowd for the ranch rodeo. The first night we got the ribbon cutting in, and they ran the sheep riding and about 2 barrel racers, and then it was over because it started raining. I mean, it was raining hard, so thank God for the rain. But the fair continues to go on. The animals came in yesterday. Today they do have, let's see, and as well as open and 4-H projects were taken in yesterday and the day before. So today they're doing some judging. The goats judging is going on. Breeding goats, there's this afternoon, this evening. Tomorrow we have poultry. Everybody likes to go watch a chicken judging contest. Sheep, swine are tomorrow. Swine is a little bit later, hoping to be cooler. It's been so hot. It's crazy. Let's see, on Friday, we have the beef shows. So that'll be a good deal. And Friday is also family day out at the fairgrounds. So bring your kids out. There'll be lots of stuff and lots of fun things for them to do. Plus, you know, looking at all the animals that are out there and talking to those kids that have those animals out there. The watermelon eating contest. I think Debbie's going to enter that this year.
Or she might not.
You can decorate cupcakes in the building. Yeah,
That's right.
there's a scavenger hunt going to happen. Just all kinds of fun stuff out there for everyone, not just the kids. Here's maybe Debbie will do this one, chair yoga in the auditorium or something, I don't know. And then Saturday, kind of winding up the fair, there will be a master showmanship for all the kids entered that want to enter into the showmanship, try to become the master showman. There will be a buyer's barbecue, starts at 2. And then the livestock sale, wrapping up the year for the kids, starts at 4, followed by a Colorado Pro Rodeo Association rodeo. So it's only $10 to come out and go to that rodeo. The rest of it is free to get into, and I encourage everyone to come out, give those kids some support, but also just come out and have some fun at the fairgrounds and see what's happening out there. The next thing I have is Commissioner Bell and I just got back from National Association of Counties National Conference. And I don't suggest going to New Orleans in July because that was terribly hot and miserable. So thank goodness they had good air conditioner in the convention room. But once again, we got good conversations with some of our federal partners, and in my case, BLM, U.S. Forest Service, working on public lands issues that affect us all, whether it's grazing or multi-use because we're riding bikes on it, hiking on it. different things like that. We keep those conversations going so that we can make progress in the forest. As you notice, our forests are burning. There's this big 100 and some thousand acre fire just south of us that's burning in the forest because of the poor health of the forest. So that's what we keep pushing to our federal partners, is we need to get those forests back in better shape, and not by fire. So it is very dry out there, and the 1,000-hour fuels have less than 4% moisture in them, which is very, very dry. It's as volatile as a match head, you might say. So all these rainstorms we're getting are wonderful. They're nice. They're helping a little bit with the lack of water. However, they are full of lightning, and every time those lightning strikes touch anything, it's starting a fire. So we've been blessed that they've been getting on those close and getting on them quick, so that they don't spread because of the shape of the forest and the dryness of the trees. Whether the forest is in good shape or not, the trees are dry because we've been in drought for so long. So I encourage everyone, as usual, to be safe, be careful. It is dry out there. We had an after-action meeting yesterday for this fire that did affect Fremont County, not in terms of fire, but in terms of evacuations. And there's a lot of things that worked really well with that, even though there was no fire in Fremont County, but there were some things that needed worked on. So that's what was discussed yesterday, because when the next event happens, and it will, we'll be better equipped to handle that and take care of our citizens and make sure everybody gets out safe. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Grantham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is our reminder that on this coming Saturday, August 1st, well, the good news is it's Colorado Day,
It is.
and we are celebrating our 150th birthday here in the Centennial State. And also, ironically, on August 1st, we have probably one of the greatest abridgments of our constitutional freedoms that we've ever witnessed here, and that's saying something, considering what has gone on in the last 15, 16 years in Colorado under the current majority controls. Senate Bill 3 will go into effect on August 1st. Senate Bill 3 prohibits the manufacturing, the distribution, transfer, sale, purchase of a specific and long list of semi-automatic firearms, bans rapid fire conversion devices. Well, there are exemptions to that, of course. That would be our law enforcement, peace officers, of course, DOC, military, government, of course, and film props, oddly enough, because we know how safely they use film props, as we have witnessed in recent times with the death of someone on a movie set. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who's listening, of course, all of this is subject to your ability to, if you want to purchase these kind of items, you are required under this law, beginning this Saturday, to get a firearm safety training program completed through, drum roll please, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, because that makes sense, right? This was a department that does their job very well to a certain extent. Nobody's perfect, right? But they are completely ill-equipped to do this function, and it is showing. I still don't think there's actually a functional system in place for this beginning August 1st, where you can actually transfer these firearms that are banned under this law. Good news is there are several efforts underway to go through the legal route to have this law considered in the courts, and hopefully before Saturday we will see some sort of injunction on this while it is being heard through the court system, and hopefully then it will reach our Supreme Court and they can dispatch with this law as it should be dispatched. But in the meantime, If that doesn't happen in a timely fashion by Saturday, then we will need to either comply by this law or comply by the Constitution. And I say this, I say all that to say this, folks. Given the ability and the opportunity, I will not comply with this law.
It's unconstitutional.
It is
Why would you?
unconstitutional, and the Constitution itself guarantees and enshrines those rights that exist, whether or not the government says that we cannot have them. Those are our rights, and they are guaranteed by the Constitution. I simply will not comply with this law. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you for that, Commissioner. I would like to add to the August 1st conversation, don't forget, it is America's Parade in Florence. That's this weekend, this Saturday. We will be joining the fun and hope to see all of you there. A couple of other things I would like to mention, following up with Commissioner McFall's comments on NACO. Yes, it was hot. It was incredibly hot. But we survived it. We came back and we're shriveled little pieces of our former selves, but we made it back. NACO was a really great conference this year. One of the things I would like to mention that I had the opportunity to do, I serve on the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Steering Committee, which we call AGRA. And the last 5 or 6 years, I've had the opportunity to run an annual policy resolution concerning seeking and pledging financial support from the federal government to the agricultural industry. And so thinking about my pending retirement and what might happen to this annual resolution in the future, I decided to try to work on turning it into a permanent part of the American County platform, which is what NACO uses to guide them in all of their interactions with Congress and the President. And so I started working on that, ended up receiving more than 20 co-sponsors, which I thought was a great thing. And it sailed through our steering committee, and it also went through with full approval from the NACO board. So something that originated right here in Little Fremont County is now part of the American County platform. And I think that just goes to prove that people from small places can do really good things for the people that we serve here. The other thing I wanted to mention is something that we do here from time to time. And that's to mention that Fremont County lost another one of its truly outstanding citizens with the recent death of Jerry Collette, who stood before us just last month and asked us to pay tribute to Walter and Gloria Shep. So many of us will long remember Jerry's many activities in Fremont County, seeing her bright red hair bobbing through the crowd as she moved from one event to another. A lifelong educator, many of her chosen activities centered on education of one sort or another. Jerry was the local face of Reading is Fundamental, a nonprofit literacy organization, for many decades before that program ended from a lack of funding. She also spent years on the Pueblo Community College Fremont Campus Senior Mini College Board of Directors, working tirelessly to bring interesting and stimulating classes to the senior citizens of Fremont County. As a retired elementary teacher, Jerry's later mission in life was to educate children on the many benefits that cattle offer to human beings, not only as beef, but also for medical purposes and things that people use in everyday life. Generations of school kids fondly remember her as the Cow Lady. In 2017, she was honored for that work as the Colorado Cattlewoman of the Year by the Colorado Cattlemen's Association. The plaque she received for the honor was so large and heavy that it had to be brought home in a truck. At the time, according to a Canyon City Daily Record article, she said, "It was pretty amazing to me that it is so large and heavy and beautiful. Since they said it's made of stainless steel, it will outlast my lifetime, and so will the honor." So yes, the honor does still stand. Godspeed, Jerry. We already miss you. All right, this is the time for citizens who may wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on today's agenda. We value what our citizens have to say and would invite anyone to the microphone at this time. All right, seeing none, we will move on. We have no old business to tend to today. We jump right into new business. Item number 1 is something we're pretty excited to see and hear this morning. This is the 2025 Fremont County Financial Statements and Management Letters having to do with the audit for 2025. We have with us this morning Kyle Logan of Logan and Associates LLC. Good morning, Kyle.
Morning.
Good morning. Oh, it's great to be here.
Good to have you here.
So great to be here. It's been a long time coming, and before I start, I have to say I think we're back on track. So that's great.
We've been waiting a few years to hear that.
Right?
So, yes.
Yes. So anyway, to start off with, you know, we issued 2024's financial statements in December, and we got started in January on the 2025 audit. And so this morning, I'm here to present our results of that audit. And so that process, as you may remember from previous years, you know, we pick samples of your disbursements, your payroll transactions, and certain revenue items, primarily to test your internal controls and in order to place reliance on them during our audit process. We also, you know, read minutes of your meetings to see if there have been actions taken or agreements entered into that may have an impact on the financial statements of the county. We also test certain balances of your assets, your liabilities, and revenues, comparing them with supporting documentation and how they're recorded in the accounting records. You know, we compare 2025 with 2024 and you know, pick Sean's brain as far as why changes may have occurred in certain areas. You also have another second part of the audit, which is the single audit, because the county receives over $1 million in federal dollars that you're required to have more of a compliance type audit. And so for during 2025, there's actually 4 programs that we tested. 2 from Department of Human Services, the Medicaid Child Support Services, and then we had the Airport Improvement Program, which was a big project going on in 2025, and then also some of the coronavirus SLRF program as well. So those 4 programs we tested as part of our single audit, okay? And so after all this process gives me a level of comfort to issue an opinion. And so following the table of contents in the financial statements, the most important part of the independent auditor's report is that first section, the opinion section. Now keep in mind, the financial statements, they're responsibility of the county's management. My responsibility is to audit them and issue an opinion. And so for the year ended December 31st, 2025, the county received an unmodified opinion. Well, what that means in layman's terms, that's a clean opinion. That's the best that you can receive from an independent auditor. What that tells you as a Board of Commissioners is that all the numbers in this document, all the footnote disclosures in this document are fairly stated and materially correct as of December 31st, 2025. So again, that's great news. That's what you want to hear from an auditor. So then I'll kind of go through the makeup of the financial statements. Following the independent auditor's report, we get into what's called the management's discussion and analysis. And this is more of a written narrative of certain highlights over the past year, comparing 2025 with 2024 numbers and providing some explanations there. Sean and his staff put that together, and then we review it as part of our audit to make sure it matches up with what we audited. And then following the management's discussion and analysis, we get into the basic financial statements. And so on page 1, we're at the statement of net position. And so this is like your balance sheet. It's a snapshot picture at December 31st, 2025 of all the county's assets, all its liabilities or claims against those assets, and its net position or net worth. And so at the end of 2025, the county's total assets were $103 million. So you guys broke the $100 million mark this year, okay? That's an increase of about 4.3 million over 24, or 4.3% of your assets. And so it's composed of your capital assets, which makes up 41.6 million, or 40% of your assets. That's all your property, equipment, land, the buildings that the county owns, okay? Your cash and investments at 46 million makes up the biggest part of your assets, and that's about 45%. And your cash and investments increased about 2.2 million over 2024, okay? Property taxes receivable, again, these are the taxes that you guys levy in December for collection in the following year. That's about 8.3 million, makes up 8% of your assets. And then accounts receivable, these are, or this category is basically money that's owed to the county that you collect in the upcoming year, which is primarily like your sales and use tax that's collected in November and December, but you don't receive it till January and February of the following year. So again, that's 5.8 million, or about 5.7% of your assets. Your liabilities, 27.6 million. This decreased about 1.3 million over last year. A couple of significant things there is you're paying down your debt, and then also the coronavirus monies. If you remember, you received that early on, and so we don't recognize it as revenue until we spend it. And so since we spent that in some of that in 2025, we were able to reduce that and recognize the revenue. Your liabilities are made up of $16 million of your long-term debt. Again, that's about 58%. Your unearned revenues, and again, these are the grant revenues that you have received, the cash, but you haven't spent it yet, of about 5.7 million, that's 21%. And then your accrued expenses, that's like your accrued wages is the biggest thing there, and your accrued compensated absences. That's about 1.9 million, or 7%, okay? Correction, your accrued compensated absences are a separate line there. They're about 1.3 million. So that's all the accrued vacation and an estimate for accrued sick leave. That makes up 5% of your liabilities. And then the next section, your net position or net worth at 66.5 million. This increased just short of 5 million at 4.9 million over 2024. And that's split up into three categories. You're invested in capital assets, net of related debt at about 26.1 million. That makes up 39%. You're restricted at 12.8 million. That's related to the Tabor Reserve, debt service reserves, unspent lottery monies of your conservation trust monies that you receive, and certain capital project monies. Again, that's about 12.8 million. And then finally, the unrestricted piece. This is a piece that there's no strings attached to it. There's no outside restrictions on it at 27.5 million. This actually increased about 15% over last year's unrestricted amount of about 3.5 million. And so I like to take a look at that unrestricted piece and compare it to your expenses for the year, which are on page 2. And when I look at that, you guys had about 7 months worth of operations in your unrestricted net position. So that's not too bad. So if for whatever reason you weren't receiving your tax monies, the county would be able to operate for 7 months. Okay. All right, so then we get into page 2, your statement of activities, or your income statement. And it starts out on the left side there with your expenses, about 47.9 million. This increased about 2 million over 2024. In the center there, we have what's called program revenues. And again, these are revenues that are received that are specific to a related department. Okay, and so we have 3 categories there: your charges for services, your operating grants and contributions, and your capital grants and contributions. And so each of those, your charges for services, comparable to 2024 at 3.8 million. Your operating grants and contributions about 16.2 million. This increased about 7%. Part of that is the recognition of the coronavirus money that I mentioned earlier. As you spend it, we get to recognize it. Your capital grants and contributions, $1.5 million. A lot of this relates to the airport project on there, and so that actually decreased about $2.5 million over 24, because if you recall, in 24 we had the Grandview Bridge project. That was significant. So again, these are program revenues specifically related to a department. Then we get into your general revenues down near the bottom there on the lower right. This is all your tax monies primarily. And so your property and specific ownership taxes, about $8.5 million. This decreased about $582,000 from 24. If you recall, in 2024, we had the backfill from the 2 Senate bills that was received by the local governments. That was only a one-time deal. It didn't continue on into 2025. Your sales and use taxes are about $18.5 million, comparable to 2024. Your interest income, $1.3 million. There's a slight decrease over 24. And so if you remember, we increased our cash and investments on page 1, but we have a decrease in interest earnings. Well, the rates have dropped probably about 1%. I think during 2024, we were between 4 and 5, and now we're at the lower end of 4. So we're kind of seeing that. And I'm seeing that with all my clients. Then we get to your change in net position, or your net income for the year, at $4.9 million. And so this increased your net position or net worth by about 8% over 2024, okay? Pages 3 through 5, these are the fund financial statements. And again, these are, you have a lot of funds in your county. And so there's 4 of them that we call major funds or significant, which is your general fund, transportation, human services, and sales and use tax funds. And then we have all your other governmental funds that we consider non-major, and those are combined back on pages 33 and 34. And so again, this the balance sheet there on page 3 presents all the major funds and the combined major funds. Page 4 also is like your income statement by the major funds and non-major funds combined. And at the bottom of page 3 and all of page 5, these 2 pages reconcile the fund financial statements to the government-wide financial statements on pages 1 and 2. Okay, primary differences there are your capital assets and your long-term debt, because they're long-term in nature, and so they don't get reported in your funds. And again, these fund financial statements, this is more of what you're used to seeing throughout the year, okay? Then we get on to pages 6 and 7, the statement of fiduciary funds and changes in fiduciary funds. And so these are funds that are held by the county purely in a custodial capacity. The county does not have access to these funds. But again, it's we have the more details on pages 42 and 43, but primarily it's your public trustee, the county treasurer, the funds related to all the other governments in the county, and then the inmate fund that's held by the county sheriff's department. Okay. So following the financial statements, we get into the notes to the financial statements, pages 8 through 28. And so again, the accounting standards require certain things to be disclosed, either to provide a better explanation of some of the accounts or categories in the financial statements, or just provide more details. And so starting pages 8 through 17, this is your summary of significant accounting policies. Talks about how certain things are treated in your financial statements. Again, very, very similar to other local governments. Pages 17 through 18, this is a budgetary footnote. And again, part of our audit process, when you adopt your budget in December for the following year, one of the things with state statute is that you're not allowed to spend more than you anticipate Well, again, a budget's an estimate. It's not written in stone and things change. Well, for 2025, the county lodging tax fund and the marijuana enforcement funds expenditures exceeded what was budgeted or what was anticipated. From my standpoint, did I have concerns about that? No, I did not. The excess was not that large, and the funds had money. So again, it's just a budgetary compliance thing. We mention it in the financials because if we didn't, you would receive a letter from the state auditor's office stating that fact and just letting you know that you did that. So compliance with the state auditor's office. Pages 18 through 21 are your cash and investments footnotes. And so you have a significant amount invested in Colo Trust and C-Safe, the two local government investment pools that are available to local governments. Colo Trust had about 11.3 million, C-Safe about 16.6 million. And then your cash deposits, these are monies just in the banks at about 18.6 million, okay? Continuing on, page 22, interfund balances and transfers throughout the year because of certain transactions that occur between funds. At the end of the year, we take a look at that and say, okay, what fund owes the other fund? And what transfers have been made. A lot of those transfers are budgetary transfers made based on the budget that's been approved. Page 23, capital assets. This is a table showing the summary of all your capital assets, your buildings, equipment, vehicles, and infrastructure, and the related depreciation on that. Pages 20 and 24 and 25 is your long-term debt. You know, and we have a table summarizing the activity there, showing the beginning and then the changes in that as far as payments of the debt during the year, explanation of the debt that the county has, and then the debt service requirements for the next 5 years and then in 5-year increments thereafter, okay? Page 25, airport land leases. This was an accounting standard that came about a few years ago, and I believe in 2023, requiring that if you have leases that are long-term, meaning more than a year, you have to report them on your financial statements, whether you're the lessor or lessee in this case. And so each year, Sean and his staff, since that has come about, they analyze the leases and then perform a calculation. Those leases are recorded at the net present value as far as what is anticipated in the upcoming years, okay? Pages 26 and 27, disclosure about the employee benefits, your retirement plans, health and life insurance plans offered by the county to its employees. The last 2 pages, 27, 28, we have the insurance, Tabor, and the disclosure of the E911 authority, that even though it's related to the county, it's not part of the county, okay? So that covers the notes to the financials. The next section requires supplementary information, pages 29 through 32. This is primarily your major funds budgetary comparison schedules. So again, as I mentioned earlier about the requirement by statute and the requirement to include your budget comparisons to actual during the year, that's what these pages serve. Pages 33 through 43, these are the combining and individual fund schedules. You know, I mentioned earlier that all your what's considered non-major funds, they're combined on these pages, but then we also have the related fund budgets for each of those, okay? And then we get into the single audit section, pages 44 through 54. As I mentioned, the county spent just under $10 million of federal funds in 2025. We tested the 4 programs that I mentioned earlier. The nice thing about it is we only have one finding and this is a repeat primarily just because of the timing of the previous years. We have to take a look at when we have to report, or the county has to report all the federal funds on the federal clearinghouse. And so it's required to be reported 9 months after the county's year end, which would be September 30. Well, we didn't complete the 24 audit till December. So again, we have to, the statute or the law requires that we disclose that. So there's no ramifications from that, other than that when we look at the next year's audits, we can't consider the county a low-risk auditee in the terms of the federal programs. What that means is we just have to test more programs. Okay, so the schedule of expenditures of federal awards and the related notes, that's on pages 53 and 54. And so again, you can see the details of the, if you have a magnifying glass, it's kind of small print.
That's some little tiny type right there.
I will say we got it on one page this year.
About 3 point maybe?
So anyway, and then finally, the last 2 pages, 56 and 57, the local highway finance report. And so because the county receives the local highway tax fund monies, they're required to put this report into financial statements. We auditors are not big fans of this because no two local governments prepare it the same way. But again, we take a look at it and make sure that the numbers are fairly stated and materially correct, okay? All right, I know I went through that kind of fast. Before I talk about the management letter, are there any questions or comments on the financials?
Anything? Nope, not at this point.
Okay. Okay, the other document that you have there is what I call the management letter. And so our professional standards as your auditors require us to communicate certain things to you, the governing board of the county. And so again, we go through, the first page there talks about my responsibilities as your auditor. As we get into the next page, we talk about the supplementary information, accounting estimates, audit adjustments, changes in accounting policies. Well, if we had significant issues that impact the financial statements, we would mention that here. We did make audit adjustments, but nothing that was significant enough for us to change our opinion on your financial statements. So for the most part, the numbers you have seen throughout the year are what are in this final document, okay? Difficulties performed during the audit or other issues, well, you would have heard from me before today if that was the case, so that's always a good thing. But this is also a tool that we use when we're doing our audit to, talk about either things, room for improvement, best practices, issues with controls or anything like that. And so we have one comment in here, and Kathy had already addressed it in her presentation of the semi-annual report for this year. But there was an amount that was incorrectly calculated and dispersed to one of the local government agencies in the county. We caught it during going through our audit, primarily reconciling the cash and investments of the county. The good thing about it is that you're able to recover that money in this year. So again, from the big financial picture, it wasn't significant enough for me to change my opinion on your financials. Okay, so that's good news.
That's great
okay?
news.
And so, but again, it's just one of those things that happens, and we just recommend that each year this as this process is going through, that it's reviewed and till the treasurer or Kathy makes herself comfortable with it. So, okay. The other comment that I have in here is the county IT. We've had this comment over the years related to the IT department and the sheriff's department. I have to say, due to the shortness in the timing of doing our audit, these comments are primarily repeated because they're hasn't been a lot of time to correct it. But what I will say is that our IT consultant, Linda, she and I spoke recently, and she told me that here in the last few weeks, she met with Lisa, and Linda has rolled out a new, what we call survey that she provides to our clients, and it's a more robust and a better survey than she feels that we've had in the past. And so Lisa and her staff are going through that now. Linda and my communication got messed up. She didn't realize I was presenting today, and so she told Lisa that she could have till, I think, tomorrow or next week.
Close.
And so what I can tell you is that once we get that survey back, if there is anything significant in that, I'll probably put together like a memo, a written communication to you, the commissioners, to let you know. And then as we do next year's audit, we'll follow up on it and follow through with it. So I apologize that we didn't have that for you today. But yeah, those are the only two comments that we have as far as going through our audit process. That's good news.
That's great news.
I mean, things are improving. I know, with the turnover in staff and as the finance department becomes more knowledgeable about the governmental accounting standards and that, it's just allows us to be here today, and so we can meet the requirements for the state auditor. So I want to thank Sean and Sheriff and basically all their staff in the finance department and other staff of the county that we've worked with. So, they have the hard part in all this, of pulling the information together. So I really appreciate their help and to be where we are today. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, Kyle. We also extend our appreciation not only to you and your entire staff, but our financial department. Sean Sutton, him and his entire staff, you guys, they've just been amazing. I also would like to back up to the very beginning of the presentation when we kind of mentioned we're catching up in audits. And I just wanted to say, for everyone who is listening, we had that terrible county-wide cyber attack on August the 17th of 2022. Correct. That was just about the same time that we started changing some staff. We had people coming in who were brand new. We had people leaving who had a lot of institutional memory that always goes out the door with them. And there's really nothing we can do about that other than deal with it and work through it. And so that cyber attack took all of our financial information, took all of it. And everything had to be started again, had to be recreated. It took months to even start to catch up with all of those things. And so that's what originally put us behind. And then we just continued to have problems with making things reconcile and finding one piece of information that had been lost. And so it kind of has just moved forward every year. But we finally are caught up today. And so I just wanted to explain to folks that that's the reason that we had referenced in the beginning. We are finally catching up. And so congratulations to everybody who has been involved in this. We're really excited to be here today. Thank you. Gentlemen, anything further?
I'll just tag on to that. Thanks, Sean spent countless hours down here, as well as his staff, and getting us into this position, and Kyle working with those when there was some stuff that was questionable, and they found it, and worked things out. So appreciate the cooperation there with you and the work that you guys put in, and appreciate you. Thank you.
I think all three of us are ready for the final exam after that presentation, so thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
And I believe we do need to have a motion this morning to accept this, correct, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
right.
Then, Madam Chair, I move that we accept this report.
Gladly second that.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the 2025 Fremont County financial statements and management letter as presented by Kyle Logan of Logan & Associates, LLC. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Kyle, thank you so
Thanks,
very
Kyle.
much.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We do have one more item of new business today. This is the appointment of a new member to the Fremont County Fair Board for a term expiring on December 31st of 2029. And I think I would like to turn to Commissioner McFall.
Thank you, Madam
for
Chair.
a quick word.
Yeah, we did have a resignation from the Fair Board, and that term would have expired at the end of this year. So we did get a letter of interest from this young lady who spent her childhood in 4-H since she was 6. She sent us a letter of interest, and since she was 6, she moved away, went to college, decided to move back home, and she's here again and wants to give her part back to the 4-H that helped make her the young lady that she is. So I would move that we appoint McKenna Long to finish out this term that was evacuated, and go ahead and elect her for the next term, which would end December 31st, 2029.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint McKenna Long to the Fremont County Fair Board for a term that will expire on December 31st of 2029. I personally would say anyone who spent 13 years in 4-H is well qualified to serve on this board. So McKenna, thank you for your application.
Arguably the most qualified that might be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just kidding, whoever took that one.
All right, further discussion?
Actually, we need to get McKenna that letter and get her to the fairgrounds. The fair's happening.
Get her there. A phone call
McKenna.
might work faster. All right, let's do roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, there is no further business to come before this board. We are adjourned.